Thank you for choosing American Pest CEUs. Hi, I'm Sean Reeves. I'm an Associate Certified Entomologist with American Pest CEUs. I've been in the pest management industry since 1999, and I'll be your instructor for today's course. Today's course was compiled by Jack Launius, who has served in the pest management industry since 1990. Texas Structural Pest Control Laws, Part 2. Subchapter F, Public Interest Information and Complaint Procedures. Section 1951.251, Public Interest Information. A. The Department, with the advice of the Committee, shall prepare information of public interest describing the functions of the Department under this chapter and the procedures by which complaints are filed with and resolved by the Department under this chapter. B. The Department shall make the information available to the public and appropriate state agencies. Subchapter F, Public Interest Information and Complaint Procedures. Section 1951.252, Complaints. A. The Department by rule shall establish methods by which consumers and service recipients are notified of the name, mailing address, and telephone number of the Department for the purpose of directing complaints to the Department under this chapter. The Department may provide for that notice 1. On each license form, application, or written contract for services of a person regulated under this chapter. 2. On a sign prominently displayed in the place of business of each person regulated under this chapter, or the Department may provide for that notice 3. In a bill for services provided by a person regulated under this chapter. B. The Department shall keep an information file about each complaint filed with the Department under this chapter that the Department has authority to resolve. C. If a written complaint is filed with the Department under this chapter that the Department has the authority to resolve, the Department, at least quarterly, and until final disposition of the complaint, shall notify the parties to the complaint of the status of the complaint unless the notice would jeopardize an undercover investigation. D. The Department shall provide to a license holder against whom a complaint has been filed under this chapter 1. The allegations made against the license holder in the complaint, and 2. On the license holder's request, any information obtained by the Department in its investigation of the complaint. E. The Department shall provide the information required under subsection D. F. The Commissioner may allow an authorized employee of the Department to dismiss a complaint if an investigation demonstrates that 1. A violation did not occur, or 2. The subject of the complaint is outside the Department's jurisdiction under this chapter. G. An employee who dismisses a complaint under subsection F shall report the dismissal to the Commissioner. The report must include a sufficient explanation of the reason the complaint was dismissed. Section 1951.253, Public Participation. A. The Department shall develop and implement policies that provide the public with a reasonable opportunity to appear before the committee and to speak on any issue for which the committee has a duty under this chapter to advise the Department. B. The Department shall prepare and maintain a written plan that describes how a person who does not speak English or who has a physical mental, or developmental disability can be provided reasonable access to the department's programs under this chapter. Section 1951.254 Public Information Program. A. The department shall establish a public information program as provided by this section and sections 1951.453 through 1951.456 to inform the public about the practice and regulation of structural pest control. B. The department may create a public information program advisory committee to assist in the development of a public information program. C. The department shall make available to the public and other appropriate state agencies the information compiled as part of the program. D. The public information program must 1. Include the adoption and distribution in a manner that the department considers appropriate of a standard form for complaints under this chapter. 2. Inform prospective applicants for licensing under this chapter about the qualifications and requirements for licensing. 3. Inform applicants, license holders, and the public on the department's internet website, in department brochures, and on any other available information resource about the department's enforcement process under this chapter, including each step in the complaint investigation and resolution process from initial filing through final appeal. And 4. Inform license holders that a license holder may obtain information about a complaint made against the license holder and may obtain on request a copy of the complaint file. E. The department shall develop a clear, factual, and balanced information sheet of one or more pages containing information on 1. The pest control industry. 2. Chemicals used in pest control. 3. General health and safety issues relating to pest control. 4. Precautions to take before, during, and after application. 5. Steps to take if a misapplication, including an underapplication or an overapplication, is suspected. And 6. Any other matters determined by the department. F. The information sheet must include 1. The names and telephone numbers of the department and the Department of State Health Services. 2. The telephone number of any pesticide hotline established by a state or federal agency or by a state university. 3. A statement of a consumer's rights under Chapter 601 Business and Commerce Code to cancel a home solicitation transaction. And 4. Information concerning the availability of any pretreatment inspection service that may be provided by the department under Section 1951.210. G. The department shall develop a sign to be posted in the area of an indoor treatment that contains 1. The date of the planned treatment, and 2. Any other information required by the department. H. The department shall make available a consumer and industry telephone hotline to provide direct access to the structural pest control service to ensure timely and efficient assistance with industry and consumer needs. Section 1951.255 Enforcement Information. A. The department shall make available to the public Information about each final enforcement action taken by the department against a person under this chapter. The department shall provide this information on its internet website and in other appropriate publications. B. The department may determine the format in which it will provide the information required under this section. Subchapter G. License Requirements, Issuance, and Renewal. Section 1951.301. Structural Pest Control Business License. Required. A. In this section, branch office means any place of business other than the primary office or a facility serving solely as a telephone answering service that has at least one employee during normal business hours who is capable of 1. Answering customers' normal questions, 2. Scheduling normal inspections or work, or 3. Performing structural pest control functions. B. A person may not engage in the business of structural pest control unless the person 1. Meets the standards set by the department under this chapter, and 2. Holds a structural pest control business license issued under this chapter. C. A structural pest control business license entitles a person and the person's employees to engage in the business of structural pest control under the direct supervision of a certified commercial applicator. B. A person engaged in the business of structural pest control must hold a structural pest control business license for each place of business, including each branch office. A certified commercial applicator, certified non-commercial applicator, or licensed technician is not required to obtain a separate license for each branch office of an employer. C. Each structural pest control business license holder shall employ a certified commercial applicator at all times. D. A certified commercial applicator or technician license must be associated with a business license holder. The name of the employer of a licensed commercial applicator or technician must be printed on the face of the license issued to a commercial applicator or technician. Section 1951.302. Certified Commercial Applicator's License. The department must determine that an individual is competent to use or supervise the use of a restricted use pesticide or state limited use pesticide covered by the individual's certified commercial applicator's license. Section 1951.303. Certified Non-Commercial Applicators License. A. In this section, incidental use situation means a pesticide application including treating wasps in an area adjacent to a utility meter, treating fire ants in a transformer box, or the treating of ants by a janitor or clerical employee in a break area that basis 1. Is on an occasional, isolated, site-specific. 2. Is incidental to the performance of a primary duty that is not pest control by an employee, and 3. Involves the use of general use pesticides after instruction as provided by rules adopted by the department. B. An individual who does not hold a certified commercial applicator's license may not engage in the business of structural pest control unless the individual holds a certified non-commercial applicator's or technician license and 1. Is employed by the state or a political subdivision of the state and engages in the business of structural pest control other than by applying a general use pesticide in an incidental use situation, or 2. Engages in the business of structural pest control as an employee of a person who owns, operates, or maintains a building that is A. An apartment building, B. A daycare center, C. A hospital, D. A nursing home, E. A hotel, motel, or lodge, F. A warehouse, G. A food processing establishment other than a restaurant, retail food, or food service establishment, or H. A school. Section 1951.304 Technician License. The department may designate different classes or categories for technicians. Section 1951.305 Application. A person must apply for a license under this chapter on a form prescribed and provided by the department. B. Each applicant must provide the information the department requires to determine the applicant's qualifications. Section 1951.306 Waiver for applicant licensed in another state. A. The department may waive any license requirement under this chapter for an applicant who holds a license issued by another state that has license requirements substantially equivalent to those of this state. The department may enter into reciprocal licensing agreements with other states that have license requirements substantially equivalent to those of this state. B. The department may issue an endorsement of license to a person who 1. Establishes residence in this state, and 2. Has been determined by the department to meet the qualifications of a certified applicator by taking the appropriate examination in another state. Section 1951.307 License Renewal. A person may renew a license by submitting an application to the department and paying the required renewal fees. Section 1951.308 License Expiration. A license issued under this chapter expires at the end of the license period as determined by department rule. Fee for an initial or renewal license. A. An applicant for an initial or renewal structural pest control business license or for an initial or renewal endorsement of license under Section 1951.306 must submit with the person's application a fee in an amount established by department rule for 1. A license or endorsement, and 2. A license for each technician the applicant employs. B. An applicant for an initial or renewal certified applicator's license must deliver with the person's application a fee in an amount established by department rule for 1. A license, and 2. A license for each technician the applicant employs. Section 1951.312 Liability Insurance. Exceptions. A. The department may not issue or renew a structural pest control business license until the license applicant 1. Files with the department a policy or contract of insurance approved as sufficient by the department in an amount not less than $200,000 for bodily injury and property damage coverage, with a minimum total aggregate of $300,000 for all occurrences, insuring the applicant against liability for damage to persons or property occurring as a result of operations performed in the course of the business of structural pest control on premises or any other property under the applicant's care, custody, or control. 2. In the case of an applicant who has an unexpired and uncanceled insurance policy or contract on file with the department, files with the department a certificate or other evidence from an insurance company stating that A. The policy or contract insures the applicant against liability for acts and damage as described in Subdivision 1, and B. The amount of insurance coverage is in the amount approved by the department. 3. Files with the department a bond, certificate of deposit, or other proof acceptable to the department of sufficient funds in an amount not less than $300,000 for payment of claims of damage to persons or property occurring as a result of operations performed negligently in the course of the business of structural pest control on premises or any other property under the applicant's care, custody, or control. Or 4. Files with the department evidence satisfactory to the department of coverage under a general liability insurance policy in an amount not less than $200,000 for bodily injury and property damage coverage, with a minimum total aggregate of $300,000 for all occurrences. If the applicant operates solely as a wood treater who treats wood on commercial property owned by the applicant. B. A structural pest control business license holder shall at all times maintain the insurance policy or contract or the security described by subsection A3 in the amount approved by the department. Failure to renew the policy or contract or maintain it or the security in the required amount is a ground for suspension or revocation of the license and a violation of this section. C. The department by rule may require different amounts of insurance coverage for different classifications of operations under this chapter. D. The department may adopt insurance requirements for certified, non-commercial applicators or technicians. E. An applicant who files proof under subsection A3 must designate a third party not affiliated with the applicant to handle the processing of damage claims regarding that security. Section 1951.315, Continuing Education Requirements. The department shall administer a mandatory continuing education program for all license holders. Each license holder must comply with the continuing education requirements established by department rule in order to retain or renew a license. 1. Develop or approve a training program for licensed technicians and for applicants to become licensed technicians. And 2. Require that an applicant for a technician license complete the training program. B. The department shall develop the educational and training materials for the training program with the Texas Agricultural Extension Service or any other institution of higher education. The department shall publish and distribute, in conjunction with the Texas Agricultural Extension Service, the materials developed as part of the training program. C. The training program must include instruction in 1. Recognition of pest and pest damage. 2. Pesticide labels and label comprehension. 3. Pesticide safety. 4. Environmental protection. 5. Procedures for the immediate reporting of spills and misapplications. 6. Application equipment and techniques. 7. Pesticide formulations and actions. 8. Emergency procedures and pesticide cleanup. 9. State and federal law relating to structural pest control. 10. Basic principles of mathematics, chemistry, toxicology, and entomology. 11. Non-chemical pest control techniques, including biological, mechanical, and prevention techniques. And 12. Any other topic the department considers necessary. D. The department may create a technician training program advisory committee to assist the development in developing the training program required by this section. E. The department may approve a training program that has not been developed by the department if the program meets the standards adopted by the department for the program. Completion of a training program approved by the department under this subsection satisfies subsection A2. Section 1951.352, New Developments Proof of Study. If the department determines that new developments in pest control have occurred that are so significant that proper knowledge of the developments is necessary to protect the public, the department may require of each applicant proof of study by 1. Attending approved training courses, or 2. Taking additional examinations on the new developments only. Section 1951.353, Fees related to training programs. A. The department may charge a fee to a person to purchase or borrow materials developed for the technician training program under Section 1951.351. The department shall set the fee in an amount that will recover the cost of the program. B. The department may charge a fee in an amount established by rule for each course considered for approval under Section 1951.352. Section 1951.401, Examination for Certified Applicator's License. The department may require a person to qualify for a certified applicator's license by passing an examination demonstrating the person's competence in the field of structural pest control. Section 1951.402, Examination for Technician License. The department shall require an applicant for a technician license to pass an examination developed and administered by the department or a person designated by the department. Section 1951.403, Examination Fee. Each time a person applies to take an examination for a license, the person shall pay the department an examination fee in an amount established by department rule for each category of examination to be taken, except as provided by department rule, an examination fee is not refundable. Section 1951.404, List of study materials and seminars. The department shall make public a list of study materials and educational seminars that are available to help applicants successfully complete any examination administered under this chapter. Section 1951.405, Examination Results. A. Not later than the 30th day after the date a licensing examination is administered under this chapter, the department shall notify each examinee of the results of the examination. If an examination is graded or reviewed by a national testing service, the department shall notify each examinee of the results of the examination not later than the 14th day after the date the department receives the results from the testing service. B. If notice of the results of an examination graded or reviewed by a national testing service will be delayed for more than 90 days after the examination date, the department shall notify each examinee of the reason for the delay before the 90th day. C. If requested in writing by a person who fails a licensing examination administered under this chapter, the department shall provide to the person an analysis of the person's performance on the examination. Section 1951.406 Examination Policy. A. The department shall develop a written policy governing licensing examinations under this subchapter that prescribes 1. Procedures to improve the design and construction of examination. 2. Procedures for administering the examinations. And 3. The process for evaluating examinations in use. B. The policy must include 1. A procedure for seeking assistance in the development of examination from experts in A. Structural pest control, B. Structural pest control education, and C. Examination, creation, and validation. 2. A schedule that provides for examination revision and maintenance, including the regular update of examinations. 3. A procedure to routinely analyze and validate examinations. 4. A procedure for the development of a bank of questions for each examination. 5. Guidelines for developing examination from the bank of questions. 6. The number and types of questions for each examination. And 7. A requirement that the person responsible for examination development make periodic reports on examination issues to the Commissioner. Section 1951.451 Contract for Pest Control Services. A written contract under which a license holder under this chapter agrees to perform structural pest control services in this state must include 1. The department's mailing address and telephone number, and 2. A statement that the department has jurisdiction over individuals licensed under this chapter. Section 1951.452 Records of License Holder. A. The department may require each license holder to make records, as prescribed by the department, of the license holder's use of pesticides. B. Subject to subsection C, a record required under subsection A shall be 1. Maintained for at least 2 years on the license holder's business premises, and 2. Made available for inspection by the department and its authorized agents during normal business hours. C. A certified non-commercial applicator shall maintain required records on the premises of the person's employer for at least 2 years. The records shall be made available for inspection by the department and its authorized agents during the employer's normal operating hours. Section 1951.453 Pest Control Information for Indoor Treatments. A. For an indoor treatment at a private residence that is not rental property, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under subsection 1951.254 to the owner of the residence before each treatment begins. B. For an indoor treatment at a residential rental property with fewer than 5 rental units, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under section 1951.254 to the tenant of each unit. C. for an indoor treatment at a residential rental property with 5 or more rental units, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under Section 1951.254 and a pest control sign developed under that section to the owner or manager of the property. The owner or manager or an employee or agent of the owner or manager, other than the certified applicator or technician, shall notify residents who live in the direct area of the treatment or in an adjacent area by 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access at least 48 hours before each planned treatment, or 2. Leaving the information sheet on the front door of each unit or in a conspicuous place inside each unit at least 48 hours before each planned treatment. Section 1951.454 Pest Control Information for Indoor Treatments, Workplace. For an indoor treatment at a workplace, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under Section 1951.254 and a pest control sign developed under that section to the employer or the building manager. The employer or building manager or an employee or agent of the owner or manager, other than the certified applicator or technician, shall notify the persons who work at the workplace of the date of the planned treatment by 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access that the persons are likely to check on a regular basis at least 48 hours before each planned treatment, and 2. Providing the information sheet to any person working in the building on a request made by the person during normal business hours. Section 1951.455 Pest Control Information for Indoor Treatments, Certain Other Buildings. A. For an indoor treatment at a building that is a hospital, nursing home, hotel, motel, lodge, warehouse, food processing establishment, school, or daycare center, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under Section 1951.254 and a pest control sign developed under that section to the chief administrator or building manager. The chief administrator or building manager shall notify the persons who work in the building of the treatment by 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access that the persons are likely to check on a regular basis at least 48 hours before each planned treatment, and 2. Providing the information sheet to a person working in the building on request of that person. B. Personnel at a school or daycare center shall inform the parent, guardian, or managing conservator of each child attending the school or center at the time the child is registered that 1. The school or center periodically applies pesticides indoors, and 2. Information on the application of pesticides is available at the request of the parent, guardian, or managing conservator. Section 1951.456 Pest Control Information for Indoor Treatments, Rules, Exception. A. The department shall develop a policy to implement and enforce Sections 1951.453 through 1951.455. B. Under rules adopted by the department, a requirement under Sections 1951.453 through 1951.455 that notice of a treatment be given at least 48 hours before the treatment may be waived for emergency treatments. Section 1951.457 Pest Control Information for Outdoor Treatments. A. For an outdoor treatment at a private residence that is not a rental property, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet developed under Section 1951.254 at the residence before the treatment begins. B. For an outdoor treatment at a residential property with fewer than 5 rental units, a certified applicator or technician shall make available a pest control information sheet at each unit at the time of treatment. C. The department may adopt rules to require the distribution of a pest control information sheet for an outdoor treatment other than an outdoor treatment described by this section if the department determines that the distribution or posting or both would protect the public's health, safety, and welfare. C. A person is not considered in violation of Section 1951.453, 1951.454, or 1951.455, or a rule adopted under this section for not posting a pest control sign developed under Section 1951.254 if the sign is posted as required by Section 1951.453, 1951.454, or 1951.455, or a rule adopted under this section but is removed by an unauthorized person. E. The signage, advance notice, and information sheet requirements of Sections 1951.453 through 1951.455 do not apply to space that is vacant, unused, and unoccupied as a residence, workplace, or other use covered by Sections 1951.453 through 1951.455. Section 1951.458 Practice by non-commercial applicator or technician. A person who holds a certified non-commercial applicator's or technician license may not engage in the business of structural pest control outside of the scope of the employment for which the person is licensed as a certified non-commercial applicator or technician unless the person becomes licensed as otherwise provided by this chapter. B. A person who holds a certified non-commercial applicator's or technician license may engage in the business of structural pest control without association with a business that holds a structural pest control business license. Section 1951.459 Pest Control Services for Certain Buildings. The owner of a building that is an apartment building, daycare center, hospital, nursing home, hotel, motel, lodge, warehouse, school, or food processing establishment other than a restaurant, retail food, or food service establishment may not obtain pest control services from that building from a person only by 1. Contracting with a person who holds a license to perform the services, or 2. Requiring a person employed by the owner who is licensed as a certified non-commercial applicator or technician to perform the services. Subchapter K, Disciplinary Procedures, Section 1951.501. Disciplinary powers of Commissioner relating to structural pest control. A. In this section, parent company, means an individual or a partnership, corporation, or other business entity holding one or more structural pest control business licenses. B. On a determination that an applicant or structural pest control business license holder under a parent company has substantially failed to comply with the standards and rules established by the department under this chapter, after a notice and a hearing, the commissioner may refuse to 1. Examine the applicant, 2. Issue a license to the applicant, or 3. Issue a business license to the parent company. Section 1951.502, Right to Hearing. A. If the commissioner proposes to suspend or revoke a person's license, the person is entitled to a hearing before the commissioner or a hearings officer appointed by the commissioner. B. The commissioner shall establish procedures by which a decision to suspend or revoke a license is made by or is appealable to the commissioner. Section 1951.503, Judicial Review. A. An applicant or license holder may appeal from an order or other action of the commissioner under this chapter by bringing an action in a district court of Travis County. B. Notice of appeal must be filed not later than the 30th day after the date the commissioner issues the order. C. The hearing in district court is under the substantial evidence rule. Section 1951.504, Settlement of Contested Cases. A settlement of a contested case under Chapter 2001 Government Code must be approved by the Commissioner. B. The Department by rule shall establish guidelines for the settlement of a contested case under Chapter 2001 Government Code. C. The Commissioner may authorize the Department to conduct informal settlement negotiations between the Department and a license holder to resolve a complaint other than a complaint involving a misapplication by a consumer against the license holder. D. An informal settlement reached under subsection C. 1. May not require the license holder to A. Refund money to the consumer in an amount greater than the amount provided under the original contract for services by the license holder, or B. Perform any services that the license holder did not agree to perform in the original contract, and 2. Does not release the license holder from any liability for misapplication. E. The Department by rule shall establish guidelines for the informal settlement of consumer complaints as provided by subsection C and D. Section 1951.505, Effect of Revocation. A license revoked under Section 1951.501 may not be renewed. B. A person whose license is revoked may not apply for a new license until the first anniversary of the effective date of the revocation. A new license may not be issued without the approval of the department. C. If the commissioner revokes the license of a certified applicator in one category, the commissioner may place the applicator on probation in any other category in which the applicator is licensed. Section 1951.506, Emergency Suspension. A. The commissioner shall temporarily suspend the license of a person licensed under this chapter if the commissioner determines from the evidence or information presented to the commissioner that continued practice by the person would constitute a continuing and imminent threat to the public welfare or environment. B. A license may be suspended under this section without notice or hearing on the complaint if 1. Action is taken to initiate proceedings for a hearing before the State Office of Administrative Hearings simultaneously with the temporary suspension, and 2. A hearing is held as soon as A hearing is held as soon as practicable. 2. A hearing is held as soon as practicable under this chapter and Chapter 2001 Government Code. C. The State Office of Administrating Hearings shall hold a preliminary hearing not later than the 14th day after the date of the temporary suspension to determine if there is probable cause to believe that a continuing and imminent threat to the public welfare or environment still exists. A final hearing on the matter shall be held not later than the 61st day after the date of the temporary suspension. Section 1951.601 Enforcement Action for Misapplication of Pesticides. If the Commissioner finds that an applicator has misapplied pesticides, the Commissioner shall institute an enforcement action against the applicator. The Department, by rule, shall adopt a policy to implement this section. Section 1951.602 Civil Penalty Injunction. A person who violates this chapter or a rule, license, or order of the Commissioner is subject to a civil penalty of not less than $50 or more than $2,000 for each act of violation and for each day of violation. B. If it appears that a person has violated or is threatening to violate this chapter or a rule, license, or order of the Commissioner, the Commissioner may have a civil action instituted in a district court for 1. Injunctive relief to restrain the person from continuing the violation or threat of violation. 2. The assessment and recovery of a civil penalty under subsection A. 3. Both injunctive relief and the civil penalty. C. On application for injunctive relief and a finding that a person is violating or threatening to violate this chapter or a rule, license, or order of the Commissioner, the district court shall grant injunctive relief as the facts warrant. D. At the request of the Commissioner, the Attorney General shall institute and conduct an action in the name of the state for the injunctive relief to recover the civil penalty or both. Section 1951.603 Criminal Penalty. A person commits an offense if the person 1. Violates this chapter. 2. Violates a rule adopted under Section 1951.205 or 1951.206. Or 3. Intentionally makes a false statement in an application for a license or otherwise fraudulently obtains or attempts to obtain a license. B. Each day of violations occurs as a separate offense. C. Except as otherwise provided by this section, an offense under this section is a Class C misdemeanor. An offense under this section is a Class B misdemeanor if the person has been convicted previously of an offense under this section. Congratulations, you have completed the course. Please proceed to the exam to receive your credit.